Good evening, everybody. Today, who's this lady? Who are you?
Mira.
Mira and and Dad read a new book called The Polar Bear by Jenni Desmond. And what does it have on the cover there, Mira? What's this thing?
You golden medal because it was really good.
A golden medal because it was very good. Okay, and what we got nothing here but ice pitcher.
A polar bear.
Oh, and a polar bear. How many polar bears do you see?
One.
One polar bear. Hold on, we missed something here.
Look,
Okay.
that was the same book.
Oh, the same book this kid's putting on the shelf. Okay.
That's the elf.
You want me to read this part, the author's note?
Yes.
Okay. Go here, hold the camera. Polar bears are vulnerable and threatened species. Until well into the 20th century, polar bears were hunted for sport, food, clothing, and traditional crafts. By the 1950s, unregulated hunting for sport and furs were threatening their very survival. This ended in 1973 with the signing of the Agreement of the Conservation of Polar Bears, which banned sport and commercial hunting, finally giving legal protection to these bears and their environments. Today, the biggest threat to their survival is climate change. This is because polar bears depend on sea ice to hunt for food, but as the world temperature rises, Arctic ice has begun to melt earlier in the summer and freeze later in the autumn. This means that polar bears now have less available food during the summer months. Should a bear already be underweight, the length of time it now has to wait for the ice and the food to return may just be too long. Polar bears are intelligent, playful, curious creatures. Along with caring for the rest of their natural world, we need to care for these bears and their environment. Only with our commitment to protecting our planet will polar bears be able to truly flourish and multiply in the Arctic homes, in their Arctic homes. All right, Mira, next page, please. Boom, boom, boom. Don't drop it. Next page. Carefully, because it's a library book, right? And she's he is putting the book on the shelf. Wow. Once upon a time, a child took a book from the shelf and started to read. Oh, that's kind of like you, right, Mira?
It's the same book.
Yeah, it's the same book, you think? Okay, hold on, next page. She read that the polar bear is also called a sea bear, and that this huge marine mammal spends most of its life on the ice and snow of the frozen Arctic Ocean. In the spring and autumn, the flexible sea ice can bend and give way under the polar bear's colossal weight. In the summer, there's virtually no ice to hunt across. In the winter, the polar bear walks for miles over solid expanse of ice in search of food. Boom, 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 boom. Next page, as the bear is searching for food. Maybe it'll be so hungry it'll eat you. Rum, 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 right? Yeah? Right, here we are. Polar bears live in the northernmost point of the Earth, in the Arctic regions of the United States, Alaska, Canada, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. In summer, the Arctic sun never sets. In winter, the sun never rises. The only light is from moon, stars, and green glow of the northern lights. Winter temperatures are so low that breath freezes instantly. Harsh winds, blinding snowstorms, and treacherous ice form an environment in which polar bears live for many months. Yet remarkably, they maintain the same body temperature as our own. Big, with heavy limbs, they have 2 layers of fur, a tough hide, and a thick layer of fat under their skin. Small, furry ears, dark brown eyes, blue-black tongue, 42 long, sharp teeth, bad breath, long neck, long, thick legs. Short tail. They growl, roar, chuff, hiss, whimper, and purr. Huge feet. Polar bears evolved to have long necks so they can keep their heads above water while swimming and reach into holes in the ice for seals. Male bears have stronger necks than females for fighting other bears. Males also have larger bodies and longer teeth, and broader heads. Wow. The guys are bigger than the girls in this one. Polar bears have huge paws that turn slightly inward. These can be up to 13 inches long, the size of a large dinner plate. While their paws are good for digging and swimming, they also act like snowshoes, spreading out their bear's weight as it moves across deep snow and fragile ice. Should the sea ice begin to bend, the polar bear will crawl on its tummy. Okay, what's this one say? Each polar bear has 5 sharp, strong claws and a foot pad that are covered with small bumps, such like the surface of a basketball. These claws and pads allow for strong grip on the ice. What's he doing?
That's shaking snow off.
Shaking snow off and maybe water too, right? When wet, polar bears shake water and ice out of their fur just like dogs. The polar bear's fur has 2 layers of soft, woolly undercoat and a top layer of water-repellent hairs that are oily, stiff, shiny, see-through, and hollow. A bear looks white in bright sunlight, but its coat is really yellow or gray, and its skin is black. Do you know the polar bear's skin is black?
Why?
Don't know, it just is. So, polar bears are about the same length as 2 7-year-old children's, top to toe. Males can be 9 feet long, while females are usually no longer than 8 feet. An adult male might weigh 1,000 pounds, which are around the same weight as 27-year-olds. Adult females typically around half that, 500 pounds. Unless they are pregnant, then they can weigh as much as the male. Look at that bare face, Mira, and he's smelling the air. A polar bear's eyesight is similar to our own, but their eyes have an extra layer that works like a pair of built-in sunglasses. This layer protects their eyes from strong Arctic light and helps them to keep their eyes open underwater. A polar bear's hearing is also similar to our own, but its sense of smell, its strongest sense, is extraordinary. A bear can smell seals from several miles away and relies on scent to find a mate, detect danger, locate its cubs. When a polar bear stands up on its hind legs, it is so they can smell the air even better. Look at that, the bears found a whale. Yum, yum, yum. In the wild, let's see, can we put a book together? In the wild, adult bears usually live 20 to 25 years. Solitary creatures. They spend a lot of time alone. Their main reason for being with others is our mating, raising cubs, or feeding upon large food sources such as beached whale carcasses. In zoos, where polar bears aren't subject to harsh weather conditions, and don't work to find food, they can live up to 40 years. Live into their 40s. Just as we can know the age of a tree from counting the rings inside the trunk, the rings inside the polar bear tooth indicate how long it's been alive. Interesting. Teeth to tell age. So the bear's like sniff, 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 and he smells a ring seal, a hooded seal, a bearded seal, a harp seal, walrus, narwhal, and beluga whale. The best time, oh no, we didn't read it. We don't have to read it. Best time for polar bears to hunt is in the late spring, when the ice starts to melt and seals can be reached more easily through the thinner ice. The polar bear's main food is the ring seal, but it also eats bearded, harped, hooded seals, along with the carcasses of beluga whales, walruses, narwhals, and bow-headed whales. Finding food can be difficult, but polar bears don't have to eat every day. A single adult seal can satisfy a bear for up to 11 days. Only when summer arrives and the seals move out to the open water do polar bears largely lose their food supplies. Then the bear might not eat for 3 long months as it waits for the sea ice to form again. Next page. Polar bears have three ways of hunting. The most common is waiting by a hole or edge of the ice for the seal to surface. Then the bear will grab a seal with its teeth and pull it onto the ice. Another is sneaking up on a snail and it's already on the ice, and then running full speed to catch it. A polar bear can run faster than the fastest human, but only for a few seconds. Finally, if the polar bear smells a seal hiding below the ice in a breathing layer, it will raise up on its hind legs before crashing down through the ice for it. Boom, boom, boom. Look at this guy. Yeah, you got a big belly. Seals are weary creatures. Want to hold my phone so you can record it, Mira? Hold the camera. You're going to be the camera girl. Nope.
I don't know what's camera cover.
It's the person that holds the camera and remakes the video like this. Oh, 2 hands. 2 hands.
I wanted to touch that.
Okay, you can touch afterwards. Seals are weary creatures and faster swimmers than polar bears. Once out to sea in open water, they are difficult to catch. Polar bears kill only 1 in every 20 seals they hunt. To survive, a polar bear needs to eat around 40 ring seals a year. Bears always eat the fat and skin first, since those provide the most energy. They also get their water from the seal's fat, since sea ice is too salty to drink. Polar bears' face is usually stained with blood after eating, but since bears are fussy about cleanliness, they always have washed. A bear will either wash its paw and nose in a nearby pool or roll around in ice, rubbing its paws and face in the snow. Wow, a lot of information about them. Look at the ice breaking up there. All right.
What's ice cream?
Polar bears like to roam on the sea ice where there are lots of water, channels, cracks, and pools, for these make easier to catch. Throughout the year, the bear will stay within the area of ice that is usually hundreds of miles across. That is called its home range. Here, ice constantly moves, breaking and shifting with the sea. Those sheets of floating ice are called ice floes. Bears swimming in the water, blah, 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 blah. The ice floes break apart and they can move quickly, carrying a bear far from its home range. But since adult bears have excellent sense of direction and strong long-distance swimmers, they are able to find their way home. Their fat and their hollow hairs of the coat help them to float. Their rounded front paws give them powerful doggy paddles, and their back legs help them to steer. Polar bears can hold their breath underwater for around 2 minutes. So they're really good swimmers, aren't they, Mary?
How could hold them left that long?
Yeah, they're special, aren't they? Look at them, they're fighting, Mira. Grr, ah, rah, and this one's over here like, what are you doing? In the spring, during mating season, a male will follow the scent of a female until he finds her. The bear will then mate, after which the male will often have savage battles with other males to keep her. After 2 weeks, the male polar bear will depart, scared from the bloody fighting. After mating in the spring, a female will only become pregnant in the autumn if she has enough stored fat to support the pregnancy or a pregnancy. She therefore will spend all the spring and summer eating. If she is underweight in the autumn, then she will not become pregnant and will continue to hunt throughout the winter. Look at the bear sleeping. A female polar bear digs breathing dens in the sloping snow or peat banks to provide a warm shelter place for the cubs. Once inside, the female won't eat for months. Her cubs, usually born in pairs in December, will stay with her in the den until spring. There's a little fox or something there. At birth, cubs are pink, the size of a guinea pig, and covered in soft, fine fur. Their eyes remain tightly closed for their first month. Interesting.
The first night of life?
First month, no eyes open. Bear cubs feed on their mother's rich fatty milk and gain weight quickly. After 3 months, when they are strong enough, and the family will travel to the sea ice, so the mother can hunt. Oh, excuse you. You okay?
No.
The mother can hunt for food. Cubs spend a lot of time playing, chasing, wrestling, sliding down small hills. They also watch and copy their mothers, who trains them to lie still while she hunts. They sometimes become boisterous, all the same, and scare prey away. Cubs leave their mother after 3 years, but have yet to become good hunters, so they have to rely on scavenging until their skills improve. Sleeping. Polar bears don't hibernate. They like to sleep through, and they can sleep almost everywhere at any time. Like human, polar bears sleep in different positions. On the warm days, they might stretch out on their back with their feet in the air or lay down with their stomach. On cold and stormy days, they curl up with a paw over the snout for warmth, letting the snow cover like a blanket. Most bears sleep a lot. There isn't much food or during bad weather in areas where the ice melts completely in summer. A polar bear may spend nearly half its time asleep, since it's hard to find food without ice. It makes sense to save energy and rest. Just like polar bears, people also curl up in cozy places, perhaps to fall asleep over our favorite book and begin to dream. And she's sleeping. What's she saying, Mira? What's this? And the end. So what do we do at the end of the book, Mira? What do we tell people to do?
Like and subscribe.
And say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Please like